If you don't like your life, then you're lying to yourself at some level or another. You might hate your job, but you might love your social life. You might hate your social life, but you might like your job. You might hate your relationship, but you might love your alone time or your hobbies. There's always something that you like in your life, in your miserable life. I think that as humans, we like to generalize things, make it seem worse so we can appear to be the perfect victim. And that's not always a good thing. I don't like being a victim. I don't know if you like being a victim. I told myself that I hated my life the other day. And I hate my life, I hate everything in my life. And then I stopped and I asked myself, do I really hate my life? Or do I just hate my job and career? And the answer was clear. I hate my job and I hate my career. I work in logistics, I work for a warehouse. Not the most exciting job in the world, especially if you have ADHD like I believe I have. Why I haven't gotten tested, that is for another video. But then I sat down and I thought to myself, I don't hate my life. I just don't like my job. I don't like what I do for a living. I don't like the fact that I have to give away all my time to something that I don't like for a paycheck that hardly covers the bills. And I feel like I can do more. I can do better, to be honest. I just can do better. When you realize that, when something tells you that you don't like your life, it's your soul keeping you accountable, or your mind, call it whatever you want. But it's your soul keeping you accountable. You move past playing small and now you want to level up because you see yourself as more, that you can do more, you deserve more, you're smarter, you're hard worker. Your life is just not at the level that your standards are. And that's when you become very unhappy about a lot of things. My clothes are still showing up, but do I really care about this? Yes, I do care about that. So, in my opinion, where was I? And the reason why I said at the beginning of this video that you lie to yourself is because you are. Instead of admitting what it is about your life that you hate or that you dislike, you tend to play the victim by saying, I hate my life. And I think that's not fair for the universe, and it's not fair for you, because you have worked very hard to get what you have around right now. It might not be the dream life, but then again, you didn't give yourself permission to live that dream life, if you know what I mean. For example, like I had a lot of dreams. I honestly thought I would go on to be a big celebrity, singer, actor, writer, who won Grammy Awards, Oscars, who got interviewed, who got to tour around the world. But I never gave my permission to even try, because I thought to myself, I'm not perfect enough, or I'm not pretty enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not old enough. I came up with all the excuses in the world not to follow through with what I wanted in my life. And therefore, I didn't even go to art school. In fact, I went to business school, something that was far from my destiny. And therefore, I ended up working at these type of jobs that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And am I surprised that I'm unhappy? No, I'm unhappy because this was not my destiny. This was not the final destination. And this is, whatever life you're living is definitely not your final destination. Very few people in the world can actually say, I'm living the life of my dream. No. So I sat down and I got myself clear. I said, you know what? I'm happy in my relationship. And I am truly happy in my relationship. I have a beautiful house. I have a salary and I have a job, which 8 years ago I didn't have, because I was living in a small island that discriminates against people like me. And now I get to go on vacation 3 times a year. And a lot of the time I travel for weekend getaways. I mean, a lot of people that are not in my situation are worse off. They're actually thinking to themselves, God, I wish I had her life, right? You can. If that's something that you want to do, you can. However, you have to give yourself permission, and you have to realize if it's something that you truly want in your life. Because, for example, I had a bucket list of traveling almost around the world, almost to a lot of country I had in that list, which I really don't care about traveling right now too, because I lost interest. Second of all, I am not the kind of traveler who is a tourist. I don't like traveling to like go to touristic places. That is not my style of traveling, and you have to understand yourself a little bit more in order to create the life that you truly want. For me, I learned traveling just for the sake of traveling, like because I want to see, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower. No, that is not me. I saw the Eiffel Tower. It was on my bucket list, but that was because it was on my bucket list. But I don't go on trips just to check the top 10 things to do in a country. I do it, but it's not my way of traveling is trying to relax in my own way, which is pool, cocktails, beach, nice dinner, maybe a car ride, mingle with locals. That is the way that I like driving. So it must be something that you truly want in your life, not just because it looks cool or because someone else is doing it on Instagram. You saw it on Instagram and you think that it's something cool and you would like to try. Just try it. That's the way that you find out what you like and what you don't like. Always try, always explore. I'm in for it. I always do it myself. However, for example, let me give you myself as an example of what to do when you say you hate your job, right? I told myself, okay, I'm happy with my relationship once again. I'm happy with my house, my vacation, and my social life. I don't have like that amazing social life. I wish I had. I'm not the favorite person when it comes to like people. I have friends, they're wonderful, but I'm not always the first one they call or the first one they think about. I'm always like a fun person to hang out with when it comes to party, when it comes to thing, but like people hardly knows where I live. Only like the people close to me knows where I live, which is how it has to be. Anyway, I told myself, okay, then what don't I like? It's my job, it's my salary, it's the fact that I don't have the time to do the things that I like, which is art, writing, reading, music production, those type of things I like. I don't like to explain to my boss like why I'm going, why I want a couple of hours off or why I want a day off. I don't want to be begging for something that rightfully belongs to me, which is my time. And the fact is, I hate working because I have to like pretend to be busy or to pretend that I like a job or to pretend that I have to show more interest than I need to show when it comes to something that really like it's just not important to me. And I know that I cannot get another job because it's always the same bullshit in every company. Every company is the best company, every company is the big family, happy family. And they always say like, we're always fun. We have, I don't know, company parties on Fridays. Like that really does not do it for me, I mean, why do companies lie? And you go with honesty, applying for a job, being honest, like I was very honest when I applied to this job, and they still lie because they're like men. They like lie about who they are and what they bring to the table, when in fact they just want to use you and just leave you at the end of the day. It's kind of like, just be honest. Do it. But don't then pretend to be the victim and be, heartbroken when I show that I really don't care and that I see right through your bullshit within the first week of starting work. My rant. Anyway, that is what I don't like, and the fact is, one of the things that I don't like is that I don't earn enough other than to pay the bills. Like, I love beautiful things. I love, the travel and luxury. I love dressing well. I love taking care of myself. I love going out to restaurants, and I love exclusive resort or all-inclusive resorts. I would love to buy a house. It was on my bucket list. And with a job, you don't do that. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna be able to do that ever, whether that is building my own business or whatever, because building a business will keep you busy as well. And it's a time-consuming effort, right? But at least if you create a business of your own, you will be like in control of what you think is right to do and what's not right to do. And you can get to be with people that at least you like, and not people that you pretend to like and who pretends to like you back. I have expensive taste. Maybe that's not realistic. Maybe that is very selfish, but I'm gonna make another video explaining why that is actually the opposite of selfish and why that can be a very spiritual journey for you. Just knowing what you want and not being ashamed of what you truly want, and why that is the cause of a lot of misery when it comes to people. Anyway, I think that we should stop lying to ourselves and call our life like, I hate my life. No, you don't. You hate parts of it. And I think it's very important for us to get clear on what we truly want, what we already have that we're grateful for, and what we can improve. For example, once again, another example, Jesus, I'm on a roll here. Anyway, for example, like I've been sportive my whole life, almost my whole life. And since I ever let go of gymnastics, for example, I struggle to find a sport that keeps me, interested all the time and engaged all the time. And I've gained weight and my body is kind of a little bit out of shape, I have to say. Am I happy with that? No. And would I say I hate my body? No, I don't hate my body. It does amazingly well. At 44, I can run. At 44, I can do things with my body that the 44-year-old that I grew up around were not capable of doing. And my body is actually, I can walk, I can run, I can lift heavy things. It does a lot of things that I'm grateful for. But do I want to be more healthier and more in shape? Yes, sure. That is an improvement. So I'm not going to generalize and say I hate my body. So I think if you are one of those persons who hates your body, who hates your life, stop saying that. You have to change your perspective on the situation. And instead of saying I hate my life, which will make you feel miserable about everything in your life, which is not fair, once again, you can redirect that thought and say like, I don't like this job, or I don't like my salary, or I don't like the fact that I'm not a morning person or I'm not an evening person, and I have to wake up at 6 in the morning to go to this place that I don't like and that I'm not earning enough money. And just be clear and be honest. I think it's just like an honesty issue that people have because we were programmed, especially like from the, before the new generation came, we were programmed not to say what we wanted, because then that meant you were, selfish or egotistic or, self-centered. And of course, most of us were raised in a religious, at least I was raised in a religious household, which believed that if you wanted material things, that was against God and I was a bad person. And therefore, I went with the flow and I did everything that society told me to do, which was get an education, go to college, get a job, work hard, and you will make it in life. That is not how it works. God, I learned that the hard way, but that's not how it works. I think my life has started to change when I said, fuck it. I'm gonna live by my own rules. Like, what do I want? And it began with my transition. And now I'm relearning a lot of things. Not relearning, but deprogramming myself from a lot of things and learning new ways of looking at life. And I guess that if you don't like your life, then this is a good place to start. To be honest with yourself and stop generalizing your life. I hope this helped, and if it did, don't forget to leave your opinions down at the comments or your experience down at the comments to help others, to help others along the way a little bit faster than, for example, me, a late bloomer. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. And until next time, ciao!